everyone, my name is Sonja and welcome to my channel, Sonja Unapologetic. Today we're going to talk about Black women and mental health. On this channel, we talk about healing from past traumas and also exploring mindsets that no longer serve us as Black women and how we can move beyond that. Also on this channel, I'm going to document my freedom journey where I'm going to make some big life changes and move past my fears. And also there'll be some videos that talk about my micro lock journey as I recently got micro locks installed. So the reason why I'm making this particular video is because I watched a video on Grapevine, the channel Grapevine, and the title of that video was Black Women and Mental Health. On the video, they brought up some amazing points. They had a panel and everything that I can think of concerning Black women and mental health and the things that I go through as a Black woman, they covered it all. Like, I was so impressed and it was just very relatable. But since this topic is so important to me, I have some notes here. They talked about gaslighting. They talked about Black women feeling dehumanized and people dehumanizing Black women. They talked about the strong Black woman trope. And they also talked about how people can rage against Black women once we set boundaries. I'm happy they talked about the Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, and Sha'Carri Richardson situation. Because when I saw these women taking a break from just, the pressures of life, taking a break from their job when everyone was looking and, they're doing these sports and everyone's depending on them, and they took a break out for their mental health. I felt like that was so encouraging because it made me feel like, oh, I'm not weird for feeling exhausted or overwhelmed. And I understand the Sha'Carri Richardson situation is different, but I'm not going to argue about, the rules and what, happened concerning, what was going on with her. But one thing that was interesting, people couldn't understand that she had lost her mom and that may have had some effect on her mental health. So that was really weird to me that no one could empathize or put themselves in that situation when that is a normal human situation. So that was the thing that was triggering and that was upsetting for me. And then going back to the Simone Biles situation, the fact that people really just trivialize what she went through with, sexual abuse. There was people making jokes about it. And then people basically doubting whether she really had any mental health issues. Same thing with Naomi Osaka. They said, like, basically, it's weird that all of a sudden now it's mental health. So it's almost like we are not allowed to experience the same mental health issues that other human beings deal with. So yeah, that's the gaslighting. The gaslighting, that's something that, I've dealt with. I know a lot of Black women have dealt with that. And it's funny the way I even searched on YouTube, why do Black women get gaslit concerning mental health? And looked at the videos that came up, but it is a thing. It's definitely a thing that we go through. And what Simone Biles and what several other Black women go through, I think that ties into the strong Black woman trope, because it's almost like you can't be soft, you can't be overwhelmed, you can't have any mental health issues, you're indestructible. And it reminds me of the Sojourner Truth speech back in 1851. She was talking about, ain't I a woman? And she talked about in this speech the way men say that women are supposed to be, cared for and carried over mud puddles. And she says, no one has ever carried me over a mud puddle or anything of that nature. So that's not, verbatim, of course. But it's amazing that she was talking about this back in 1851. So it's like, you're a strong Black woman, so you are not worthy of protection. You're not worthy of help. So that's something that a lot of us deals with, and it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of frustration to have to deal with that. We're not indestructible. And so that's something that people need to realize, that we're human beings and we have your feelings just like anybody else. So let's talk about dehumanization. If you're not able to have certain feelings, emotions, or people make you feel guilty for having those feelings and emotions, the same human emotions that everyone deals with, it can be dehumanizing. It goes back to the Sha'Carri Richardson situation, to where her mother passed away. And it's normal for most human beings to be affected by that and to grieve. But people couldn't understand that. So that was dehumanizing. But in the Grapevine video, one of the ladies on the panel talked about not begging others to view us as human beings. I thought that that was very powerful, because if someone can't relate to me, someone could be a woman, but they're not Black, so they, don't relate to my specific experience, or they're Black, but they're not a woman. They can't, relate to my, specific experience. But then, sometimes, you can feel like everyone is against you, but your specific tribe and your, specific, group of allies. So they also talked about healing is a team sport. That is very powerful, because instead of us worrying about the people who are dehumanizing us, let's get our tribe together. And when you get your tribe together and people who understand, it's such a relief when you have a group of people who understand. And, a lot of times, other Black women are going to be a part of that tribe. But in the Grapevine video, there was the facilitator of the panel discussion was a guy. So I thought that that was pretty amazing. And, he seemed to be an amazing ally and understanding of all of those experiences that, Black women, go through. But I thought that was so powerful, taking your power back by not begging someone to view you as a human being. So that really helps with healing. It's like that's something that helps with, moving forward. And lastly, the point of people raging against you when you decide to set boundaries. That is prevalent in the workplace, but that can just be prevalent with romantic relationships or family relationships. But a lot of it was focused on the workplace, and I can definitely relate. There's a lot of situations in the workplace to where if I've asked for vacation time when it's a benefit that the company offers, but somehow asking for that vacation time is a problem. I remember starting a job years ago, and as soon as I started the job, I was in training for maybe a week in training, and my grandmother passed away. When I talked to the trainer and asked for, not asked for time off, basically told him that I'm going to be taking, time off for bereavement, he asked me, well, how many days are you going to take? And I'm like, well, we get, 5 days. And he's like, well, you're in training. Do you need to take, these 5 days? And, normally you can't take off any days in training, and be able to keep the job. It's like making me feel guilty when my grandmother passed away, something to where I was gonna have to go out of state, and just, the preparation to go out of state, you're, driving out of state and coming back, but then also I'm grieving. And the way he, did things, he's like, I'm gonna have to talk to HR and see if this is okay. It's almost like making me feel guilty. Like, do you have to take all 5 days? And there's another Black woman in my training class. While we were in training, unfortunately, her mom had a heart attack. Thankfully, her mom survived, but she wanted to go out of state just to check on her mom after her mom had the heart attack. And the trainer was just like, no, if you take any time off, you're fired. And so she went outside the training class and just, went to talk on the phone with her mom. And then when she got back in, she had, of course, there's sadness, but then also I think she was upset because he was giving her an attitude about wanting to go see her mom. And he said in front of the entire, class, is there a problem? He told her, like, is there a problem? And it felt like taunting. It's like, okay, her mom just had a heart attack. Is there not anything that could be done for her to go visit her mom and just to make sure that her family is okay? But it kind of did feel like, when you, set boundaries, and those are just human boundaries, the boundaries of, I have a family member that passed away and I'm going to take all 5 days, not only to grieve, but to get out of state. It's like, it's a problem, and they make you feel guilty. So that's something, that I've dealt with in corporate America, and just lots of things that makes it to where you get corporate PTSD. It's funny how I talked to a few people to where they mentioned it's almost like you're in an abusive relationship with your employer. And it's funny that they say almost like. It's like, why is it almost like? Why aren't there just actually situations where people understand that an abusive relationship to where it's, gaslighting, it's, making you feel guilty if you want to take off vacation, making you feel guilty that you need to go and grieve the loss of a loved one. I don't feel like that's almost like an abusive relationship. I feel like that is a verbally and mentally abusive relationship. So that leads to mental health issues. Also in the past in corporate America, I remember having times to where I was severely overworked, working 6 days a week, maybe 10 to 12 hours a day, and I was just delirious. That definitely leads to not only mental health problems, but physical health problems, rising, blood pressure, and, you feel like you're having, migraines, and you feel like you just can't think straight. And I remember just not being able to get off any time. Like, the only day I was able to get off to rest was Thanksgiving. And instead of going to spend it with my family, I was just so deliriously tired. I just slept that whole day, because that was the day that, the whole company was going to be shut down. I can actually sleep. So a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves, and we feel guilty for taking care of ourselves. It's something that we can't do, ladies. We just can't work ourselves into the ground and not take care of our mental health, not take care of our physical health. Because when you're gone, it's like a company is going to replace you quick with someone else. Over the time that I've worked in corporate America, my coworkers who have passed away, it is insane how quickly people are trying to get their office, or just, someone else, moving into their desk or whatever. It's like, you have to worry about you, because people are making you feel guilty for taking care of yourself. But if something happens to you, they're moving somebody else into your desk tomorrow. So it's just so important for us not to feel guilty and not to allow anyone to make us feel guilty for taking care of ourselves. But I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. The link to the Grapevine video, Black Women in Mental Health, is going to be in the description box. So check it out. You will not be disappointed. It's very relatable. It covered everything that I can think of. And also, I want to invite you guys to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you can be reminded when I post videos. Also, I'd like to know what you guys think down in the comments. Talk about your experiences, and like I said before, what was talked about in the Grapevine video, healing is a team sport. So let's encourage each other. Let's have those discussions in the comments. And I want to thank you guys for being here with me as I have this discussion. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.